Let's continue with our conversation and our focus, of course, on the developments at the NSFAS. EFF Student Command Eastern Cape chairperson Mvelo Abenta joining us now. Mvelo, good evening, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. Your reaction to the news that the board at NSFAS has been dissolved?
Good evening to your viewers and also yourself. Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. No, the decision to disband the NSFAS board by Minister Blade Nzimande is not a genuine decision or a solution to what is happening across the country. As you can see that most of the institutions of higher learning are embarking on strike because of the direct payment process, which is not direct in its approach. So it is a reactionary statement or decision in relation to the decision that has been taken by the EFF Student Command to say that it's now mobilizing all the SRCs that it's leading with in these institutions of higher learning, and also inviting all those who are genuinely concerned of students or the higher education sector in South Africa to join a national program which will call for the immediate termination of the contracts of these service providers, such as your Tenet, your Noroko, and your Izaka, and you can name all of them. But it is not a solution to an immediate problem, this thing of disbanding the board, because even if there could be another board that is based, it can't resolve the issue of payments since there's been this decision of putting these fintechs in place. So we are saying it's a reactionary statement trying to manage us or the SRCs that are governing throughout the country to say that, at least the Minister of Higher Education, who's corrupt, in fact, has tried to bring a solution. Even if we can appoint or put any ANC cadre, because it's just an ANC arrangement, because it's them who are stealing money through these service providers, which are having abnormal charges on students. So we're saying it is just a reactionary thing. It does not solve an immediate problem, hence an immediate solution. We're saying what must be done. Institutions must be allowed to pay students as they were paying them in the previous years. Yeah. Whilst we are still trying to pursue.
So, I mean, the ANC, you think, wanting to take the credit, saying, well, it's part of the minister responding to their call, which they made as early as December already, that board must be dissolved. And this is a move by the minister to respond to those issues.
No, this one is just claiming a victory, and it's not even a victory, by the way. They are not in touch with reality. Hence, he might think that disbanding a board of NSFAS is a solution. It's not even a solution. We're not even here about it. We will continue mobilizing our people to go and occupy the streets up until the termination of all the contracts of these service providers. So he can claim it that they pursued him, but even himself, Blade Nzimande, knows that he's reacting to what has been released by the Student Command. And also, there have been several meetings that have said with EFF officials last year, telling Blade Nzimande to terminate the contracts of these service providers. Then, ultimately, towards the end of the year, a meeting with the EFF Student Command officials, together with the Deputy President of the EFF, Commissar Floyd Shivambu, said and recommended again, and the Minister Blade Nzimande reaffirmed that they are going to take a decision to disband those things. So they are not making it because of ANC clique or SASCO. They are not leading in any way. They are taking this decision by means of responding and managing the student organization that is leading in institutions of higher learning, which is the Student Command.
Are you confident in the ability of Freeman Nomvalo, the former accountant general and previous CEO of SAICA and was at Treasury for some time, to turn the scheme around?
No, at the moment, there can't be anyone who can be a solution to this crisis that we are faced with in relation to NSFAS. As long as that person will come with an appointment from Blade Nzimande, because the problem here is not NSFAS as an institution, but it is the Minister of Higher Education who's corrupt to the core. They are not just stealing money through charging students abnormally. We are even having a crisis of accommodation and payments of landlord, which is not being done by NSFAS. So there's no one who can save NSFAS as long as that person is coming in the same line or in the same formation with paid in demand or is in alignment to paid in demand. A solution to all these problems would be him as paid in demand resigning in that position that is occupying as a useless minister.
Well, the minister seems to say he's in the same boat as you when it comes to the issue of accommodation. He says, I'm also hearing reports of corruption when it comes to accommodation, and I want the administrator to investigate that.
No, he's not in solidarity with us or students across the country. It's him who's taking this decision, because before even the academic year of 2024 started, we spent registrations in TVET colleges and institutions of higher learning, which is your universities, without the NSFAS funding guidelines, because what they were doing together with this corrupt minister, they were still trying to put in the NSFAS funding guidelines a clause which will accommodate the autopilot accommodation project of him as a minister. They are saying they are going to take over the accommodation crisis or process from institutions of higher learning and do it at a level of NSFAS, but it has collapsed. So we are still faced now with that challenge of having landlords or service providers who are providing accommodation to institutions of higher learning who are not being paid. And even there's no system from NSFAS or DHET which they responds to say how are these students going to be allocated since they want to do this thing national. So those are just the means of delaying students from occupying these buildings, knowing very well that each student per year pays 45,000. So if you get to be allocated towards the end of the year or even in June, the entire money that should have been utilized on your accommodation from February to June will go to their pockets as these corrupt thugs of the ANC. So he's not in solidarity with us. If he was in solidarity with us, he would react by dissolving or terminating the contracts of these service providers, which are causing crisis in the level of finances of students across the country, and not even introduce this thing of autopilot accommodation, which is failing this month. So he's just moving around to cause chaos and also fool our people. I'm glad that they are speaking of elections that they need to be forgiven. We are not going to forgive them. We are going to, on the 29th of May, to vote for the EFF, which is an organization that has a tangible solution to what is happening in the education sector.
So the tone, I suppose, of the ANC Youth League and that of the minister is that there are also individuals within the administration, the operational side of NSFAS, who are just refusing to do what they are supposed to do. In fact, the minister says he had to intervene and help one young lady because the people at NSFAS were refusing, for example, to pay, saying, no, the results have not been sent by the university. Turns out that those results had already been sent by the university, but there were just folk at NSFAS who are not doing their job, saying those are people that actually should have been fired.
Yes, literally, not only the board is a problem on NSFAS, the entire institution, it is a problem because it is full of ANC deployment crisis. Even these guys here who are claiming that they are representing students from SASCO, they are the ones who are having positions in these things of NSFAS, whilst they do not know anything in relation to what is happening to students across the country. So they are working hand in hand with these guys of SASCO and even these ones of ANC Youth League to cause this instability that is happening across the country. So an immediate plan of action which might risk to NSFAS at the moment would be that one of removing all these people who are their staff members because they were given responsibilities of their jobs through being former leaders or former members of SASCO and that one of SAUS. So there's no assistance which might come from those people.
So what is your position then on this policy of direct payment as the EFF Student Command?
Our position is clear as the statement that was written by the Student Command and published on Thursday, that we are going to mobilize students and rally them towards the streets so that we can have the minister, Mr. Bladen Demand, who's the one that is in charge of taking decisions, to immediately dissolve or terminate all the contracts of these service providers, because saying that they are going to be paused in terms of allocating or disbursing student allowances until July. They know very well that at that time, most of these institutes of higher learning will be embarking on exam, and it will be difficult to mobilize students. So hence they are pushing that at least we must, now that we see students have compromised their time and academic calendars, they are going around mobilizing themselves to occupy the streets. Let's reschedule the plan of stealing money to July. We are going to be ready even when that time or moment arrives to go and occupy the streets again until they terminate all those contracts of the service providers. But we are also not confident that they will reach that time of July, because we believe and will be voting for the EFF in our numbers as young people, as we are doing institutions of higher learning.
Mvelo Abenta, I appreciate your time. EFF Student Command, Eastern Cape Provincial Chairperson.